And you are wrong! All of you are wrong!
Okay, I've seen a lot of mixed responses on this chapter. Actually, that's a lie. I've seen mostly hate on this chapter. I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of people are upset, not because of the bad writing, quote unquote, but instead the fact that their fan fiction has not come true. Which, you know, isn't new regarding these type of conversations. As for myself, for the most part, I'm mixed. There is a feeling of anti-climax a little bit. I can totally understand that from other people, but this whole agenda that this is the worst chapter, come on, there are chapters where literally nothing happens. And you could say that just means they're inoffensive and not actively bad, but I will try to convince you why this chapter isn't actually bad. Going through the main points people bring up one by one, but also going through some that I maybe a little bit agree with. The first complaint I want to go over is that it was half a chapter and we didn't really get much in either plot points. Come on, if it really wasn't that much that we got, then why is there so much discourse about it? We got some stuff in both of these plot points, and maybe you wanted all of it in one chapter, but this is fine. Just wait one more week. Literally be patient. We found out about both Rin and Isagi's salaries. We found out that Ryo will probably survive since he actually had an assist, and we found out what his plan was for Nagi. Yeah, maybe you wanted to get all of the Barcher match first before you got the salaries, but then people will complain, oh, where's the salaries? Like, it's just, I think this is the way that we get best of both worlds. I think this is completely fine. Just literally wait one more week. You bastards are so impatient. And you guys are like, oh, I waited a whole year. I waited for a whole year. Yeah, you can wait one more week then. Just shut up, man. And again, it's not like the pacing is bad. It's not like we didn't get anything in these chapters, as I said before. It's just that the way it's split up is different than the way it was split up before, which is completely fine. Like, we literally, in the PXG game, we got a chapter of Kaiser just shooting the ball. That was the whole chapter, and nobody really complained about that, so I don't know why this game complains. Just chill, bro. And I just want to say before I continue, I'm fine with you voicing your emotions on this chapter. Like, if you personally don't like it or don't like the way it goes, then that's fine. You can personally not like something, but when you actually try to start talking about facts and saying this is actually objectively bad, or this is done wrong, or this is done wrong for this, then I'm like, no, you can't get away with that one. That's why I have to start talking my shit. And that's where you get into the next complaint, that being Rin being tied to Isagi does not make sense. The argument generally goes as such: Rin got outplayed by Isagi and he sold by not scoring, so he shouldn't have the same bid as Isagi. Okay, first of all, bids aren't an exact ranking. It's a value of a player to whatever club offers them that bid. It's a biased approximation, not just based on skill, but based on whether the club thinks that that player fits into their system or not. It is not like the first couple selections where somebody was trying to rank them objectively, even though Ego says himself that even that was biased as well, by his own admission. So let's just establish that first. So I don't even need to prove that Isagi and Rin are exactly the same skill. I just need to prove that it's an approximate enough, so it makes sense that a single club would put somebody's potential value at the same level as Isagi. So yes, Rin got outplayed, but it has been shown time and time again within this match that Rin, Kaiser and Isagi are basically on the same level. And in terms of individual skill, Rin blows Isagi out of the water. In addition, the reason why Isagi won was partly because of Ness and luck. So it makes sense why clubs would value Rin on the same level. Because let's face it, in a different environment that wasn't that match, which wasn't with Ness, which wasn't with that luck, Rin wins. So I can see easily that a club will put them at the same value, and maybe he's a bit sketchy in his playstyle right now, but if you see his potential, like, it's very sensible to put him on your team, especially if it fits within their team. Yes, it feels purely based on who did better in the last match. Isagi should have been higher, but it's not. It's based off of potential, based on if it fits inside of the club. It's based on factors other than who did better in that match, and especially within the story of Blue Lock. And anyway, narratively speaking, I think it makes sense that they're both tied, because you can see Rin as the #1 genius and Isagi as the #1 talented learner. They're both #1 in a different aspect, if you know what I mean. And then we get to the next point. I think this might be the biggest one that people are getting upset about. Isagi should have got the Real offer. As I said, Real doesn't necessarily think that Rin is better. It's just that Rin fits better within their team. And I don't know what's this obsession with Isagi being in Real, like to play with Sai, but they'll likely play within the U20 World Cup tournament, you know, that little thing. And they say that Real is the most prestigious team, and like, I guess, but what team is the most prestigious or best fluctuates. And Isagi has never had any interest in going to Real, and being at Real is no indication of skill level, at least compared to the other European teams. You You know why? Because the best striker in the world is at Bastard. I thought we all understood that the club you're at, the team that you're at, doesn't matter, the player does. You know, that's kind of the whole point of Blue Lock. You are not your team, the team is not you, you are your own individual. Thinking Rin is somehow above Isagi because he's on a better team or he has a better team, it's like people have fundamentally not understood or taken in the core messages of the manga that they're reading. But hey, that's nothing new, but maybe I missed something. Okay, so the last point is that Rin and Isagi's reactions to the bids don't make sense. The complaint is that Isagi was happy when he got the offer. Are we reading the same manga? Yes, Isagi strives for greatness and wants to eventually become the sole #1, but he never shies away of celebrating leaps forward towards that goal. And this is definitely a leap. So him celebrating makes complete sense and is completely within character. He's celebrating passing to Yuki, which he acknowledges wasn't ideal since he wanted to score, consider it's a stage that he's never been in other regards, and thus he celebrated it. He only gets upset when he feels like he isn't going anywhere or his hard work didn't pay off at all and didn't result in anything he wanted. And at the end of the day, what Isagi wanted was to be #1. It's Rin who wanted to destroy Isagi and crush him. Like, Rin doesn't care about that. Isagi cares more about the title than beating Rin, if we really think about it, since he is a world type. And let's say in the future there's another striker ranking, kind of like the one that Noah and Chris Prince were in, which will probably happen, to be honest, and Isagi and Rin were both joint first again, then it makes sense for Isagi to crash out because he's still in the same place. In order to fulfill Isagi's ego, he either needs to win or make significant steps towards a win later. This is kind of in the middle, not quite a win, but it's definitely a step to a win later. Now, I will say Rin's reaction is a little more sus. It does feel kind of weird. He feels very calm, which is representative of early Rin in the early selections, but the Rin that we have seen in this match, I'm not sure. I think this needs to marinate a bit, but I do feel like in the U20 game, Rin hated Isagi, but now, especially of how he spoke of Isagi in the final stages of the match when Isagi was about to score, that is very reminiscent to how Isagi spoke about Rin in the second selection with the whole parabola speech. And I think at this point Rin respects and kind of appreciates Isagi as a rival and not just purely hates him. And it's even smart if you think about how Rin is going through what Isagi went through in the first and second selections, only sped up. Obviously when he had that crash shot against Isagi, he had that elated moment similar to when Isagi scored in the first selection, and then at the end of this match when Isagi scored, Rin had that moment of appreciation of a rival, of somebody better than him, instead of hating. Because before, his rivalry is born of pure hate. It's not that he thought Isagi was that crazy good. He was just pissed off that he got the man of the match, and like Saya was like, oh no, I actually like your friend more, and he's like, what the hell? So yeah, that's more hate. But now I think this is the point of their relationship where Rin respects Isagi, kind of like how Isagi respects Rin, even though like he doesn't particularly like Rin, he does respect him, which makes sense why his reaction is not really angry, because if anything, there's probably a part of Rin that wants Isagi to catch up to him, that wants Isagi to keep up with him. You know, that's the whole thing about the crash shot. He wanted Isagi to come fight him. He wanted Isagi to get better, right? Before this match, Rin just wanted to crush Isagi, right? And he didn't care. But now he's evolved to the point where no, he actually wants Isagi to fight him and constantly push against him. So he's fine with being tied with him. And yeah, that's just my interpretation. We'll see how Rin's character is portrayed in the next arc, and if that matches up with my interpretation. If it doesn't, then fair enough, but I think it will. So yeah. Now, I've watched a bunch of Blue Lock YouTubers to gain the main consensus, and wow, almost everyone doesn't like this chapter. My fellow Isagi Glazer, Savage Toby, said it was garbage. Same with Error Assassin, who complained about many things I've already addressed, but what struck me is he complained about the fact that they showed Rin and Isagi's values first and said that makes no sense. But since the last place will show who will get eliminated, I think it makes sense to save that. And arguably Rin and Isagi being at the top is the most obvious thing, especially compared to the bottom. So getting the obvious out of the way makes sense, and there are many shows that show the first place first for that exact reason. No hate, I just thought that point was stupid. Anyway, I do appreciate YouTubers who look more of both sides and not immediately go to hate like Hyrio, or people who didn't seem to like it but had a more soundly thought out reason for doing so, like the Wise. And you just got people like Extendo who just want to see Nagi, and I hear it honestly. But yeah, that's the explanation for this chapter. It makes sense and is not trash. For the love of God, just let the mangaka cook. But if you've got any thoughts and rebuttals or comments about what I have to say, anything that I perhaps missed, share your thoughts, talk if you want to talk, and let that out your day, man.
Oh shit, why? If one of those